Well, thanks for visiting us this morning at ktalnews.com and your Weather Authority app. I'm meteorologist Josh Marces, and this is your Thursday morning forecast update. It is going to be kind of a treacherous morning commute for a few areas, especially watching I-20 as well as I-49 if you're in the Shreveport-Bossier metro, where you kind of commute between Minden and Shreveport, and maybe Shreveport and Natchitoches. Those will be the areas we'll have to watch for some flooding threat this morning, as our flood watch will continue through about 1 p.m. this afternoon, so we will see some improvements here in most areas by the late morning. But the complex of thunderstorms that developed overnight has been moving very slowly, so we have this area of low pressure which will just continue to push these storms to the northeast. You can see the cells that are as of early this morning in deep east Texas. These are going to be shifting up towards Shreveport as well as I-20 as we continue through the morning, and those may be the cells that do trigger some additional flooding here. We've had some reports just outside of the Arklatex down towards Nacogdoches that they've had about 4 to 6 inches of rain there, and they've actually had some water rescue, some cars getting stalled out in the streets overnight, and those heavier rainfall totals will be kind of moving up through center, likely Mansfield, Shreveport over to Minden, and can't even rule out maybe some of those higher totals into Arkansas. So if you're in the Shreveport-Bossier metro, it is possible we can see well over 3 inches of rain by the time we get done with this by mid to late morning in Shreveport, if not some higher totals. So those flooded intersections and roadways that you may encounter on your typical drive to work, or if you're just out running errands, will have high water today. So just be very mindful of the potential to see some roadway flooding. Maybe give yourself a few extra minutes in case you have to find an alternate route to work or school this morning. So rain will likely begin to taper off for most of us mid to late morning. By the time we get to the afternoon, the rain will have ended in most areas, but if we do warm back into the 80s, we may see enough instability in the atmosphere redevelop to see maybe just some spotty or rogue showers and storms this afternoon. Won't be any flood threat later in the day today, but this pattern of scattered thunderstorms will likely be continuing through the weekend here. This area of low pressure that's moving through, there's nothing behind it, so that's why I think we'll see several hours of dry weather this afternoon. And as the storms continue to move to the east, they may be able to tap into just the right ingredients here near I-49 from Red River down through Natchitoches and Sabine parishes to produce maybe a damaging downburst type wind gust. And I've been watching the storms this morning. We had one tornado warning yesterday that was in Union County, Arkansas, outside of the Arklatex. The storms that are out there this morning are still showing just a little bit of spin to them, so we can't rule out a very brief and weak tornado in these areas. And but it does look like wind would be the main issue with the storms that will be moving into that outlook area by the mid to late morning. So taking a look at your Robbins Toyota Futurecast, you can notice between 6 and 8 p.m., kind of the core of that morning commute, we'll be dealing with some heavy rain in the Shreveport-Bossier area. Those storms will continue to shift to the northeast. So again, we'll probably see the rain taper in most areas by lunchtime, but even late this afternoon, you can see some of those spotty showers that will continue for us before we likely dry out in most areas tonight. Once we go through the rest of the day here, we are anticipating a corridor of heavy rain fairly close to I-20 here, so that's why you're seeing Futurecasts indicate an additional maybe 2 to 3 inches of rain with some isolated higher amounts there. So again, this is where the flood threat will reside for most of the morning here, especially in Louisiana, and can't rule out maybe some spotty or isolated flash flooding in Arkansas as well. So temperatures will stay in the low 70s for much of the morning given the rain and clouds, but if we do recover a little sunshine this afternoon, which is very possible for most of us, we will be in the upper 70s and low 80s. Very humid behind the rainfall as well, so it is going to feel fairly muggy with those temperatures in the low 80s today. We're back in the pattern Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of just that one round of late day storms, so the flood threat will be much lower as we continue through the weekend. But if you're trying to plan out some outdoor activities for the weekend, generally mornings dry, but the afternoons will have that 30 to 40% rain chance through the weekend and into early next week. But the pattern does show some signs of easing up on us as we start to pull some drier air in by next Tuesday and Wednesday.